And broken branches marked the scene Sunday of a deadly crash in upstate New York.
Everyone inside the limousine was killed.
20 people died Saturday afternoon in a crash outside the popular Apple Barrel Cafe in the small town of Schoharie, about 40 miles west of Albany, after a limousine failed to stop at the intersection of State Routes 30 and 30A.
The limousine traveled across the intersection into a parking lot and struck a 2015 Toyota Highlander that was unoccupied and parked. Two pedestrians standing nearby were also struck and killed.
Reportedly members of a wedding party, all 17 passengers and the driver of the limousine were killed along with the two pedestrians. The National Transportation Safety Board sent a team to investigate.
20 fatalities is just horrific. I've been on the board for 12 years, and this is one of the biggest loss of lives that we've seen in a long, long time.
Investigators are searching for evidence and will recreate the crash. Police have not yet identified the victims, and the cause of the crash won't be determined until autopsies and the investigation are complete.
Two-vehicle fatalities as a result of this crash. The investigation is very preliminary. It's in its infancy stages.
I heard this loud bang. I came out. I saw a lot of people up here at the Apple Barrel, out in the parking lot, and then I heard screaming. I walked up and I could see this large van, very unusual looking vehicle for out here in Schoharie, in the bushes and really wrecked, hit a tree. The first responders broke some windows to try to get people out, and I believe the Jaws of Life were here on the side of one of the fire trucks.
We have several units here investigating, and details from the state police, including our BCI.
I'll take you to Latham, New York. Officials are giving an update on a limousine crash in the town of Schoharie that killed at least 20 people Saturday. Let's listen in.
And Troop G staff, the Schoharie County Sheriff Ron Stevens, and National Transportation Safety Board Chairman Robert Sumwalt. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families following this horrific tragedy. On October 6, 2018, at approximately 1:55 p.m., Schoharie County Sheriff's Office and New York State Police patrols responded to a motor vehicle crash at the intersection of State Route 30 and State Route 30A in the town of Schoharie. The investigation at the scene revealed that a 2001 Ford Excursion limousine was traveling southwest on State Route 30 and failed to stop at the intersection with State Route 30A. The limousine traveled across the intersection into a parking lot and struck a 2015 Toyota Highlander that was unoccupied and parked. Two pedestrians standing nearby were also struck and killed. In total, 20 victims were killed. All were adults. 18 of the victims were in the limousine, including the driver and the two pedestrians that were struck. At this time, the identities of the victims are not being released pending the autopsy results and notification of the family members. The state police have set up a dedicated phone line to assist the family members of the victims in the crash. We encourage them to call 1-877-672-4911 and speak with a member of the state police. I'll repeat that number. That's 1-877-672-4911. In addition to Troop G uniform and BCI members, the Troop G Collision Reconstruction Unit and Forensic Investigation Unit responded to the scene, along with Schoharie County Sheriff's Department members and members of Emergency Medical Services, numerous volunteer agencies. I would like to thank our fellow first responders for their assistance during this investigation. The National Transportation Safety Board was also notified and has launched a team to investigate the crash. The scene has been cleared at this time, and the victims have been transported to Albany Medical Center, where autopsies are now being conducted. The State Police investigation is continuing with interviews, evidence processing, and collision reconstruction. Governor Cuomo has directed all state agencies to provide every resource necessary to aid in the investigation and determination of what led to this tragedy. We will answer questions that we can in a moment, but first, I would like to invite NTSB Chairman Sumwalt to say a few words.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Superintendent Fiore. I'm Robert Sumwalt, and I'm the chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board. NTSB GO team arrived this morning to begin our investigation of this crash in Schoharie, New York. Before I go any further, I'd certainly like to express our condolences to all of those who have been affected by this tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. The NTSB is an independent federal agency. We're charged by Congress to investigate transportation accidents, determine the probable cause, and issue safety recommendations to prevent the reoccurrence of those crashes. The investigator in charge leading the investigation will be Mr. Pete Katowski. Pete has over 3 decades of investigative experience. Mr. Katowski is leading a multidisciplinary team with experts in a number of areas, including highway crash reconstruction, survival factors, vehicle factors, including the mechanical condition of the limo, any roadway factors, and the emergency response. Also accompanying the GO team are members from the NTSB's Office of Transportation Disaster Assistance. They will be helping to coordinate the response for the families of those involved in this tragedy. The NTSB is also working with the New York State Police as they conduct their investigation. We are conducting our separate investigation, but we will be working together. Throughout the next few days, NTSB investigators will work on scene to thoroughly document the scene and to gather what we call the perishable evidence, the information that goes away with the passage of time. I expect our investigators will be here about 5 days. Since we're at the very beginning of the investigation, we really don't have any information to report on the actual investigation itself, but we will be keeping you informed through regular updates, either media briefings or through our media sources like Twitter. It's important to point out that our mission is to point out not only what happened, but why it happened, so that we can keep things like this from happening in the future. We will not be determining the cause of the crash while we are on scene. That will come at a later date, nor will we be speculating on any cause of the crash. We certainly want to thank the first responders. I know it's been a very, very trying 25 hours for all involved. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to those. I'll turn it back over to the First Deputy Superintendent.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open it to any questions, but please keep in mind it's very early in the investigation. We have not made notifications to the family members, so that we're going to be very limited on what we can disclose.
First Sergeant, I'm sorry. Could you say even what regions anyone is from on this, what car you're from? And also, you mentioned that the limousine went through. Can you tell through the stop sign? Can you say how you know that? Was it a witness? Or?
Well, I'm not going to discuss at this time where the limousine came from and where it was heading. As I said, we haven't notified all the family members yet, so I'm not going to comment on that at this time.
But not even general regions, if they're all upstate or anything like that? That's fine.
It's early on in the investigation. I really can't.
And also the point about the limousine going through, how do you know that? Is that a witness or some other?
Well, there were witnesses at the scene, but just from the evidence discovered at the crash, it was apparent that this was the direction of travel and what happened.
Where was the limousine coming from and where was it going?
Yeah, I can't comment on that right now.
Did everyone inside the limousine die, including the driver?
Everyone inside the limousine was killed.
Was the limousine over capacity, or do you know, or was it fit for the number of people that were actually in it?
I can't discuss that at
Do
this
we have a
point.
sense of what killed them? Was it blunt force trauma?
I'm not going to get into that
Was there
as well.
anybody involved in the accident that survived, which is injured and survived this accident?
When you say involved in the accident, what do you mean?
Like, were there any other bystanders that were hit or involved in this?
I can't comment on that.
Are you
I'm
going to
not
do
sure.
toxicology on the driver?